Statement from wide receiver Josh Gordon, who, as we all know, spent some time away from the NFL, got reinstated after he was essentially kicked out. There's no other way to put it. He's suspended and came back, reinstated, and looked as healthy as an ox as anybody out there. He's as physical a wide receiver as there is when he is ready and mentally healthy, as well as physically healthy. And he sent out a statement today to let everybody know that, quote unquote, I'm not only doing great physically, but mentally as well. You'll notice that I will not be in Cleveland for the start of training camp, which is coming up on Wednesday for the Browns at Berea, Ohio. Rest assured that this, too, is part of my overall health and treatment plan. I appreciate the awesome support. Mentioned that. I'm excited to start the season. I have every intention of being ready and available to join my teammates soon to help bring winning football to our fans. With the help of the NFL, NFL PA, the Players Association of the Browns organization, I've been able to utilize the resources available to me that will ensure my well-being on and off the field by continuing to follow the plan set up by our medical director and his team. And taking this time before the season starts, we believe it will help me maintain the progress I've made for not only today, but for many years to come. Thank you all for your patience, love, and support. Go Browns. Sincerely, Josh Gordon. The Browns then sent out a statement from John Dorsey, the general manager. We will continue to support Josh as he receives the care needed to maintain his progress. We're going to respect his privacy while he is away from the team. Josh will be placed on the non-football illness reserve list until he is ready to return. And before we get to Mary Kay Cabot at Cleveland.com, I just want to say again that he is in stage 3 of the NFL substance abuse program, which means a player in stage 3 can be tested up to 10 times per month, and a medical director can order treatment. A positive test or failure to comply triggers indefinite banishment of at least 1 year. The league, Brian McCarthy, saying, quote unquote, absolutely not suspended. So perhaps it's a medical director, as he mentioned, saying, let's take a break. Maybe you need a few weeks. Don't go to training camp. Wait a couple weeks. Team says they want to give him some space. Now, while hoping that he does get the space he needs, we still need to wonder what's going on best we can. Mary Kay Cabot back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Mary Kay?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
What do you think?
Well, I think it could be something like either Josh was sort of teetering on the brink of losing his sobriety, or maybe he did something, had a little bit of a setback on his own without testing positive for it, where, he opened up to his caregivers and his medical team about this or something like that. It's my understanding that he really hasn't failed a test per se. But for some reason, the medical director and his medical team felt that it was time for him to go back, take a time out, and work on his recovery. I believe he's either in inpatient rehab or outpatient rehab right now. But whatever the case may be, it was time for him to try to get back on track so that he doesn't falter again.
And let's hope this, Mary Kay, because the off season can be long without the rigors or structure of an NFL season. Perhaps that's a situation that can work against somebody in Josh Gordon's situation. So perhaps him getting in to camp and getting ready when he's ready, that will be helpful. Is that part of the conversation that you're hearing in Cleveland?
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing to remember with Josh Gordon is that he has admitted to some serious drug addiction over the past number of years, going all the way back really to like middle school and high school. And we're not just talking about marijuana. We're not just talking about alcohol. We're talking about some pretty heavy drugs, opiates and codeine and different things like that. And if you remember, he said before the start of last season when he was reinstated, that he had never played a game sober before last year. So that's a lot to try to overcome, especially for a young person who is surrounded by all kinds of temptations. So I think he found himself in a place where he knew he was on a little bit of shaky ground. And again, I don't know how that manifested, but he was here in Berea. He was working out here a ton. When you would see guys all over the country, Josh was right here in Berea trying to stay close to his counselors and his therapists. And it was only recently, within the last month, that he left Berea and went. I believe he's back in Gainesville or somewhere near the University of Florida. Within the last month, he decided to take this time out and go do what he needed to do, which I think is great. And I think real quick, the other thing is this, to me, represents a paradigm shift in the NFL, sort of from punishment to rehab. I mean, they really have been taking great pains to try to get Josh Gordon back on the right track and not continually punish him for what everyone seems to realize is an illness now.
Mary Kay Cabot of the Plain Dealer, Cleveland.com, joining me here on the show. What do you think? Does this affect a quarterback race at all? I mean, is there really a race? What can you tell me about that story as that develops with training camp opening in 2 days, Mary Kay?
Well, the narrative heading into this camp is that Tyrod Taylor is the starter, and at this point, I don't really believe that Baker Mayfield will be given a fair shot to really go out and win that starting job. And you can kind of control these quarterback situations the way that you want them to go. I mean, if they don't give Baker Mayfield a lot of work with the first team, he's not going to be able to beat out Tyrod Taylor. So if they genuinely don't want him to start on opening day, and I don't believe they do, then they will give Tyrod Taylor the majority of the first team work, and Baker will just come up that learning curve with the second team guys and maybe hope to be the number 2 guy starting the season. I believe that that's the narrative heading in.
Why don't they want him starting the season? Walk me through the mindset there.
You know what? I think because Hugh Jackson spent the last 2 years letting a rookie learn on the job. Last year, DeShone Kizer, he really had no choice but to start DeShone Kizer because they didn't have anybody else. They had Kevin Hogan and Cody Kessler on the roster. So he had to start DeShone Kizer last year. This year he has a choice. And the year before that, by default, because of injuries, he had to start Cody Kessler for 8 games, and he went 0-8. So you're looking at 0-8 and 0-15 with rookie starters over the last 2 years. He does not want to do that anymore to himself, to the fans, to the veterans on the team. They want to win some football games. Tyrod Taylor has experience. He's gone to the playoffs. And I just think that they want to give Baker that time. It will be hard to start him and then just yank him out of there and go to Tyrod after 3 or 4 games.
So then why, I mean, you don't mind me. I don't mean to, I'm not laughing at. I mean, it makes total sense. All right. When you've won 1 game over 2 years, it is a numbing experience, and you've got to start winning games. But Baker Mayfield is the Heisman Trophy winner. You draft him number 1 overall. If he has the ability to right now win a job and win games in the NFL and be that guy, and you go through whatever growing pains you need to go through, better have him now than 2 years from now when you find out that he's not the guy after you come up with a couple of Fugazi seasons of 9 wins, 10 wins with a quarterback that you don't plan to have a future with, Mary Kay? That one is the head scratcher here.
Well,
no competition at the spot?
You know what? I understand exactly what you're saying, but I think when they look out there, what they see is a young quarterback who really needs to learn the pro game a little bit more before they throw him out there. Now, some guys are a little bit more ready than others at this point. I mean, Carson Wentz, the Eagles determined that he was ready to go, I think in part because he had come out of a pro NFL-style system. He was used to barking out those plays. He was used to, having to do all the things that he had to do, play under center and all of that. Baker still has to learn a lot of that kind of stuff, and I just don't think that they feel that he's going to be ready to do that, in over a month. So I think for them, they're just going to take their time. Even Todd Haley said at minicamp that he has a long way to go. Now, if he didn't have a long way to go, sure, throw him out there. Let him compete. But I think what they're seeing with their eyes is that he needs some time.
They're not hoping he grows 2 or 3 inches in the time they have to wait, right? They're not hoping that. Are they, Mary Kay?
Well, if he did, he'd be 1 inch taller than Tyrod Taylor. So I really don't think that I don't think that's the case. I mean, they believe in him. They're excited about him. But they want to get it right, and they don't want to throw him out there before he's ready and, perhaps even damage his confidence or whatever the case may be.
Oh, that's impossible. You can't damage that kid's confidence, Mary Kay.
But you know what? If you remember back, I mean, Johnny Manziel was a Heisman Trophy winner. Johnny Manziel was a first-round pick, and it's 2 totally different things.
Yeah, I know.
Comparing the 2.
Right, okay.
But
yeah.
I mean, he came in here with a tremendous track record of winning, of moxie, of playmaking, and all those sorts of things. But this is time to put on your big boy pants when you're up here in the NFL.
All right, Mary Kay. Thanks for the time, and so is there? I mean, at what point do we or the Browns check back in? I mean, at what point? What's the time frame, if there is? Because it sounds like this is one of those things that there really can't be a time frame with Josh Gordon, Mary Kay.
Well, when I talked to the NFL today, spokesman Brian McCarthy, he said there is no timetable. And I have tried to press him a number of times today on, where is this going? What is this all about? Josh sounds optimistic. You're telling me there's no timetable. And basically, he has emphasized, that right now there is no time frame. They have to see how things go with what Josh is doing right now. And it's my understanding, like I said, that he is in some kind of a treatment program, and it's going to be up to the medical team and the counselors to say, yeah, we think we can put him back onto a football team and all the pressures that come with it.
Mary Kay, thanks for the time. Appreciate you joining us. As
sure,
always.
Thank you.
You got it. That's Mary Kay Cabot of The Plain Dealer.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.